Acoma Pueblo potter Lucy Lewis embraced tradition and expanded it.
It's a wonderful place to live because it's quiet, and if you happen to get up early, the sun starts coming up, you see all those rock formations start appearing. They come out as the sun comes out. And then when you look out west, sunset, you see that pretty brilliant red. I always say there's no place like Acoma anywhere else in the world. She was born up there, she was raised up there.
Lucy Lewis grew up in the first part of the 20th century when Acoma as a community was very closed to the outside world. But she lived well into the 20th century when Acoma, as a result of the World War II, opened up to the outside world. So she really grew up in probably two very separate worlds. Being a potter means she's deeply seeped in the traditions of pottery making, and that she's responsible for all those traditions. And what I mean by that, one of the things, for example, I mean by that, when she goes out and harvests her clay or picks up the potsherds that she's going to grind for her temper, she's doing something that her female ancestors, both immediate and further in the past, have done for centuries. And so she's very responsible to her past and present and future tribal members in the way that she behaves. I think one of the meanings we can't forget is that we know her name. We talk about people having artistry, and if we talk about a painter or a painter style, there might be one person that we know their name. And Lucy Lewis is one of those people who stand out because she did love to experiment. She loved to explore the clay in a way. She loved to have her hands in the clay. When you hear her daughter talk about her life, she always is working on pottery. She puts her pottery aside to make dinner and different things like that. They travel around because of pottery. Whatever they're doing, it's pottery takes them there. And so it is a vehicle for her to explore herself as well as the world around her.
She was an amazing potter because she didn't go to school, nobody taught her. She taught herself, so that's one thing that I admire her or remember her for it. But I know where the fine line design came from when my mother started doing, came from an old pot shard. There's just so many designs that she did. She wanted to do what her aunts in the past have done, so.
Her artistry is so high to use those same designs that other women are using, but her ability to situate them around the pot. Sometimes it's a little thing like on a bowl or a jar that gets more constricted in size as it goes up, that the designs start large at the base and then grow smaller as they go up the side of the jar.
She did a lot of polychrome too. That's white background, black and orange. That's what we call polychrome color, yes. Yeah, got that inspired by looking at a Zuni pot one time. She didn't really exactly did the way the Zuni heartline was. She, did it on her own style or version, I said so. What my mother taught me to appreciate the pottery making, that's, she tells me that, it's hard work. So value your work.
Sometimes when we think of a person like Lucy Lewis or Pueblo potters, we think they're just born that way. And we forget how much work it was to get as good as Lucy Lewis was at making pottery. And the constant experimentation, the constant hands in the clay, the refinement of how she mixed her clay, where she found her clay. Every step along the way in pottery making was refined to a certain place. And we might forget, she sold them by the roadside by Route 66 for maybe a dime or maybe a quarter at one time.
That was the fun part, because we met, or she met all kinds of people that, came through west and east going. And one funny thing about sitting out there as a youngster was we used to ask people if they had any magazines that we could have so we can read them. And she started coming up to Santa Fe for the Indian market. That's where a lot of collectors had come around and bought, her work. And so she was about the only one that left the reservation to go show her work.
That first thing you see about her pottery is that it's Acoma. You don't see Lucy Lewis, and I think that's an important part of her pottery. Think about all the years that she made pottery, that she never signed her pottery. It's only the assistance of the outside world that she begins to sign her pottery. So although we think about her as an artist or an individual or someone who stands out, she is also first and foremost an Acoma potter.
That's where I got inspired by just watching her, and I want to do it too, so I did it on my own. I have everything there before me. My elements are all there. Clay is there, colors. Yucca brush grows out in Southwest. It's there, everything is there. That's what's really, it's in me that I can do this. I have all this, and that's what's really important to me. Is I'm really, really happy that I was able to learn to do this. My children have that greatness in them too about how pottery is made, and that their grandmother left us that legacy for us to carry on. Mom, I'm always going to love you. If you're not here, you're still with us.